Excuse my voice. I've been doing a little bit of yelling, not too much, just a little bit. Uh, when I walked in this morning, the first thing that popped in my mind was to make sure my iPad was charged, because I remember it was media day, so I just assumed that we was on Zoom. But it's obviously good to see everybody. It's good to be in your presence. We certainly missed you. Missed you guys being around, getting to know our football team, and getting to know some of the stories of the young men in our program. So certainly appreciate that. As you know, I'm not a guy that's normally going to talk about injuries. That's just not my mentality or approach to it. But I do want to address a particular injury that we had in the spring. Kyle Pugh, he got injured during spring practice, so he will not be able to play this season. I just wanted to make sure we be up front with that and address that. And, his recovery is going well. He still will be involved with our football team, and we wish him a speedy recovery and get as healthy as quickly as possible. A couple things about our football team. One thing I believe in is, trust is earned through consistency. And, what I've seen over the last 8 months, I really got a good feel of our football team. I trust our team. I trust their level of commitment. I trust their level of discipline, both on and off the football field. And so, I have a leadership council that I rely on quite heavily, frequently. And, they wanted to vote for captains. So we had an opportunity to vote for captains. It was voted on by the players. We got 6 excellent captains, 6 guys that's going to represent our football team. And I think we are at that point where we have moved forward as a team that, we can have some leadership in the locker room and they can do things and become an extension of the coaching staff. And I think they have a voice. The players respect them. They know how to go out about their business and work and continue to grind. Yesterday at practice, I had a moment of reflection. Obviously it's a new training camp, new guys walking in the building, but something took me back to a year ago. And sometimes when you're in the process of trying to get better as a program, as a football team, you don't fully evaluate the situation. But I was just thinking to myself, a year ago, we had 40 freshmen coming in our program, and we didn't know who we needed, but we knew we needed a lot of them. And to say we was able to get guys to get ready to play and to prepare each and every week and to compete and to lay it on the line, we knew there was going to be a process with that. But at the same time, if we stay committed to that process, it will start to pay dividends. And so as we had practice yesterday for the first time in helmets and shoulder pads, those same guys that we were so unsure about a year ago, now you look at them and say, wow, what a difference a year makes. And for us as a team, we've made tremendous strides in the offseason. I think part of those strides happen when you put the investment in the weight room, you put the investment in conditioning, you put all the investment. Now you understand when you have an opportunity to take full advantage of that opportunity. Obviously, we practiced forwards this morning. Right? Like any training camp, everybody's excited for the first day. You're a little bit less excited for the second day, and so forth and so forth. So now, for us, the grind begins. And the grind is we're going to find the 22 best players that's going to be the toughest guys to get ready for September 4th. And we evaluate every rep. We evaluate every practice. The depth chart changes daily, and guys understand the best players will play. And so what you see is the guys that have been through the process continue to elevate themselves and to continue to practice at the same level, and some guys take a step back, which is to be expected. But we have enough depth, we have enough quality depth where we can split the field up and get two good groups of work, and that's what we're going to continue to do for as long as we can stay healthy. Because for us, what a great opportunity to develop our whole roster. Last year we played 6 games. This year we're playing double. So we got to make sure we are fully equipped at all positions that we can withstand the grind of a season with the non-conference schedule. It's a great schedule. We're certainly looking forward to it, and we want to continue to get better. As far as our team, we took the vaccination very, very seriously. We're close to 90% vaccinated. We started early and we started often, and I think a lot of that is due to relationships. I think they trust us to understand we're going to put them in the best position to be successful both on and off the football field. And so to be 90% vaccinated as a football team, number one, it keeps everybody healthy. Number two, it gives you every opportunity to maximize the amount of games that you can play in the season. And certainly excited about that. Okay. Last thing for us, as we look at our football team, our team is going to be defined on a couple things. Number one, our ability to run the football on offense, okay? And the weight gains up front, the weight gains in the backfield, it's going to start there. We play in the Midwest, a lot of different elements, a lot of different circumstances, rain, wind, sleet, whatever it may bring. But if you can run the ball, a run game and a good defense will always travel. And so those are the two things that we're working on, our ability to run the football when we want to, when we have to, when we need to, and then obviously play great defense. And I think if you watch practice today, there was a level of physicality and there's a level of big people hitting each other that for us is going to pay dividends in the long run. And then we have to be great on special teams. We got two really, really good special team coordinators, and they have a lot of different pieces that they can work. But we want to find core guys that can go out there and get the job done on special teams, and we can win games in that facet. So we're certainly excited, as every coach in the country is. But I'm really excited because I think the growth that we've been able to see, we can have a chance to put on display. With that, I'll take any questions.
Obviously, last year was crazy for everyone, and obviously not the way you wanted it to go. But what little things did you take from the team? What little things did you take from that you wouldn't necessarily see, in the stats or something?
I think sometimes as the head coach, you have to look forward and see things ahead of time. My first season, I spoke to our team about buying a dip. When I looked at the roster and I looked at what we needed to do to improve, I understand there was going to be a transition period. And so what we had to do is make sure that we took care of the parts and the pieces to get guys in position to be successful. And I think the foundation and the structure is in place. And I think for us, now we can move forward. We don't have to start from ground zero. We can start from a lot further place than we were a year ago. And I couldn't be more excited about where we're at. And our thing is if we can stay healthy, we feel like we can have a really good team.
What are some things that you've seen? I know it's only been a couple days and you had spring practice, but what are some things that you've seen on both sides of the ball that have you feeling real good about this season?
Well, I love the battle up front, the offensive line and defensive line. We are very deep on the defensive line, and I think that's going to maybe surprise some people. But we got guys that can really get after the quarterback. We got guys that can stop the run. I look at our D-line, you see all these guys with these single digits. That's what the game has come to now, right? If you're a good player, hey, I want number one, hey, take number one. But obviously we don't give out numbers unless we really think you really can play. So that battle in the trenches is one that is going to make the difference on our football team. And I love where those guys are at. I love where they're competing. We almost have to back them off. I had a team meeting yesterday, and I showed some clips of some good and some bad up front, and some things that you don't see to the naked eye. But when you see the film, you got D linemen, with their hands inside and restricting guys and all those different things, those battles. But we got to stay smart. We got to be smart. We got to stay on our feet and keep those guys healthy and get to the dance. And I think we'll be very, very good in the trenches.
You mentioned the Pugh injury. What will be his role this coming season, and where's your confidence level with the linebacker group that's got a lot of experience?
I think obviously Pugh's been here a long time, so he's a leader. He's a guy that's respected, and I think he has a voice. And I think for him to mentor some of the younger players that's in the program, but this didn't catch us by surprise. We obviously knew about this for a long time. We prepared for it. We feel good about the depth. I really think we hit on the incoming linebacker class. Hopefully we don't have to play them. Last year I thought we hit it on the D-line, and we wound up having 3 true freshmen start. I think we hit at the linebackers this year. Hopefully they don't have to play. because we got more depth in the program. But I think we got some guys that can really, be physical and knock you back. I mean, that's the big thing. If you look at their size and their physicality, you couldn't pick out who's the freshman and who's not. And I think that's how we want to build our team. We want to build a team that's physically mature, that can withstand the type of schedule that we play.
You always talk about how the best player will play. Two position groups that come to mind right away that are very crowded with talented players are receiver and running back. How do you feel that you'll deal with that going into the season as far as just getting the right guys out in certain situations?
Yeah, obviously you watch practice today. We rotated a lot of guys, right? They have to prove themselves every day. That's number one. And if we get to a point where we have, 4 backs that's proved themselves and 6 wide receivers that prove themselves, then obviously we can package plays to get guys in the best position to be successful. But we're not at that point. We're at the point to see who's going to play the best tomorrow. And then as we get closer to the season, we'll evaluate. But we can't make a decision today for September 4th. What we have to make a decision today is, how many reps are these guys going to get tomorrow so they can put forth their best effort to show us what they can do.
Is there anything specific about this team that, in general, in your 3 years here that stands out or is different, in the beginning stages that, you're really excited about?
Yeah, I think they appreciate the hard work that it takes. I think sometimes when you have success and then some guys come in and the program is at a certain level, they don't know what it took to get there. I came in '99 and we was just starting to turn the hump. But I wasn't here in '96 when they had an 0-23 losing streak. I wasn't here. But what I did learn from the guys that were there is, hey man, there's our standards and expectations for the way you go about your business. Every day you walk in this program. We talk about the hard way. Well, let's not lose the focus of what the hard way means. That means you come in here and you put your hard hat on and you have a blue-collar mentality and you grind every single day. And then when you play, we're not going to back down from anybody. And so that's what you see, right? That's what these guys have been through. That's what the grind. It's too hard for 12 opportunities, 12 guaranteed opportunities. You got 48 guaranteed opportunities in your career, right? So you work out probably 300 days a year for 12 opportunities. That's a commitment. That's an investment. And it makes you appreciate it when you get out there to say in the fourth quarter, I'm not going to let my team down and not make that play. And that's what I'm starting to see. They appreciate it. They appreciate the grind. And when you embrace the grind and embrace the adversity that comes with it, then good things can happen down the line.
Coach, there's one thing to bring in transfers, but you get Clint and Lombardi in. Have they impressed you? To be captains coming in transferring, what's impressed you the most about them coming in, maybe on the field but also off the field?
Well, each transfer situation is different, right? We're not going to bring a transfer in that can't play. That's not just because you at a Power 5 program don't mean you can play. So we have to thoroughly evaluate each player, each transfer, and that's part of the process. That's part of the recruiting process. But first, we always want to develop our team with high school young men. We are a developmental program. And then when there's an opportunity to add a guy or two that can help your roster, you certainly have to look at that and be thorough about it. But, Rocky came in from day one in January, and he's a hard worker. He's a leader. He's not afraid to stand alone. And it's so interesting. Rocky and Clint are roommates, so you got two guys. So leadership is hard alone, but when you have another guy that's your buddy, that's also a leader, now you can galvanize more people, and they've certainly done that. Obviously, they are good players. Clint. I'm not afraid to say this. I think Clint is a pro. If I was in Baltimore, I'll be evaluating him to try to get drafted. But he's got to stay healthy and he's got to produce. And we got a tight end. That's a pretty good player. So we'll keep getting them up to speed. But we're gonna bring in guys that can make a difference, because when they walk in your program and if for whatever reason they play, guys in the locker room need to understand there's a reason why they're playing, and because they earned it. And those guys are certainly putting those steps forward to try to do that.
Staying on the leadership thing, with the captains, I'm sure you met with them. Exactly what did you share with them that you expect them to be able to handle on the field and in the locker room, what have you?
Well, I'll just give you a short story. So this summer, I read a book with the Leadership Council. We read Stick Together, right, by John Gordon. Excellent book. It only takes about 45 minutes. So I bought enough books for the whole group to read it. So we read it, we talked about it, okay? And then their challenge was to give the book to another teammate and then talk about it. And so that's how you build leadership is a grassroots campaign, right? If I lead, I can't be a solo leader. I have to have somebody else to have my back. And so we got about 15 guys on the Leadership Council. They all read the book, and then they passed it to a teammate. So now that becomes 30 guys that you're trying to influence in the locker room. And then yesterday we talked about it. We took the book a step further because I talked about, okay, anybody can get up here and talk about leadership, but how do you apply it? How do you make it applicable? So what we did was, we got some wristbands that say stick together, and then on the other side of the wristband, there's a word based on some of our core values of our program. And so we match different people to get them to get to know each other and to work together, because for there to be leadership, somebody has to be willing to listen. And that's what we're working on. And I think it's a constant thing. Every day you walk in a program, what are the things you're doing to be a leader? And I think our captains are guys that take that a step further because obviously their teammates voted on them to be in that position.
Just one more. Talk about the opportunity to play the Big House. I mean, that's the biggest stadium in the country, back to close to full capacity. For your program in general, and just the opportunity to go out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a big opportunity, right? We played in the Big House in 2006, was it 5, with Garrett Wolf. All I can remember is Garrett running down the sideline. I mean, it's an awesome feeling, but obviously we have some games before that, and I think our players understand that. But, obviously Michigan is a storied program, great tradition, and by the time we get there, we'll figure out what we need to do to try to give ourselves an opportunity to win that game.
Anything else for Coach today?
Appreciate your time. My iPad is still charged up, too. See you later.